Hello, hello. Welcome back to Theodicy Podcast with, of course, your girl Word. Yes, I am back in the building. I hope everybody is enjoying their Thursday. And yes, I told you guys I will be back to discuss a few more things when it comes down to this whole nature boy, aka Eligio Bishop, as you see the title from Melanation to Carbonation. I have a guest. Let me just add my guest to the stage really quickly. Welcome, Puerto Rican 360. Welcome to the building.
Peace, peace.
Peace.
All righty, all right. How is things going with you on this Thursday?
All is well wise and civilized. What's the science, Justice? What's up?
Welcome, Kane TV. Welcome to the building. Welcome to the building. Everything is going well. Like I said before, we are back on this Thursday with a second episode. Going back in time with the whole cult of carbonation, which was formerly known at one point Melanation. We are definitely going to dive deep. This will be the beginning part, which will be episode 2 for us right now. Currently, for those of you who are not aware of Eligio Bishop, we're going to take you back to who this person is, all his aliases, and etc. So just stay tuned. Make sure you hit the notification bell so you can always be notified every time we go live on Thursday on this particular segment. So now, guys, I just want to start off with saying I appreciate all my subscribers that's going to come through and always show support. Is always appreciated. I want to begin with this video that you guys can see on the screen right now. I think for me, when I got introduced to this video, this is what basically started everything when it came down to the whole carbonation. So I want us to take a minute and basically listen to the words that's coming out of his mouth as he speaks. And as you guys are familiar, that is Eliana, aka Velvet. And this was really like for me, like I said, the first time I was introduced to Nature Boy and who he was. Hold on, I have a little background, so just give me 1 second while I mute up. All right, great. I should be good now. All right, guys. So I just want you guys to listen, and then I'm going to then ask what was your feeling at the moment when you guys even came across this video and the things that he was saying, the things that he was actually saying. And like I said, this was when it was melanation before it came carbonation. Okay, maybe I'm having a little technical difficulties. Give me one moment, guys. One moment. I have to go back in really quickly. And what I want to do is basically go into the psyche of who Eligio is. I really don't want you guys to concentrate too much on the cult members as of yet. I want to be able to take you guys as my subscribers into a journey of a person's psyche, especially even being able to have the mental to put together a cult the way he did. But I do not own the rights to this video. This is not my video. Um, this is from indigenous people. This is one of their videos. I am just using it for educational purposes. So I do not own the copyrights to this video.
He's a Libra. You come back, all right. I want to do this on my behalf. A long time ago when it first came out. You know what I'm saying? When was clipped up with what I said. I do want to also recently myself Carbonation have left San Ignacio where we were staying, and we had went into town to grab some things. Um, and she seen us in the store. She seen us in the store. American lady, African American, whatever you want to call it. Um, and t- immediately, you now. This lady knows me a lot. No, I'm just telling what is the problem? Like, I'm asking her what's the problem. She's like, you're a problem. Get out, get out, get out. I'm like, all right, chill, chill, chill. So, um, later on that day, some of our neighbors come to us talking about their out being a pedophile from the video a long time ago. Those that follow, it was a lot of people don't like me. I got a lot of haters, but you know what I mean? Being called a pedophile, son is with me now. Like, I'm not a pedophile. Like, a lot. She tells all people to believe kids, a pedophile, a group of pedophiles. Like, we basically go around snatching kids. This is what she told Belize. So the Belize people got to go. So there was hired to come with me. You know what I'm saying? And there was talks of just y'all third country, so I'm not trying to have money in that location. And also because I want to take full responsibility as well for the video that was out, how I articulated myself in that video. I'm not going to blame it all on this lady. I'm going to blame it on the fact that I didn't articulate myself very well in that video. I take full responsibility. I made a mistake. If anybody that did their research, most people, the sheeple, they're the most dangerous things on this earth because they don't do any research. Just go by what someone said, and then boom, that's it. You see a black man, big black man, and you like, it's already fitting that I'm some kind of danger to society. When the when the oppose is true. So this lady goes online named Miss Mama, or what was her name? Tariq. Latava. Listen, first of all, we want to say to Latava, Miss Mama, that there was any kind of indication that there was a pedophile, that you was going to protect the community. We admire your security. We admire who you are here. You're strong. You seem to be a strong woman.
Okay, hold on one moment. I want to actually stop it right there for one moment. Let me add back Puerto Rican 360 and K&Tube TV. Puerto Rican 360, K&Tube TV. Were you guys able to hear the video that I just played?
Oh, we was having some technical difficulties
Yeah.
on our end, so we had to check back in.
Yeah. I was having some volume issues, so I had to reset
Okay,
and come
was
back.
you able to hear
I did hear some of the video, yeah. But my
and
phone,
come
my
back?
volume was
Was you
bad.
able to hear a little bit of that?
Yeah, I was able to hear
Okay,
it, but my volume was messed up, so I had to
okay.
fix
So
myself.
where I stopped at, okay. So I know that you're more familiar. I'm actually playing clips just so that the people that are later on come in and view the video, they'll have a context of who I'm talking about. So and the beginning of it all. This was the video I just played. Like I said, they were Melanation first. That video was the segue into Carbonation. He mentioned a woman by the name of Mama Latavia. They couldn't even pronounce it right. But if I'm not mistaken, they were talking about um Latanya, the woman that was highly invested in trying to take Nature Boy down.
Oh, Latanya
And in this
Jones?
particular video, he speaks on the fact that she, Latanya Jones, right. So that video, he actually mentions her, but he doesn't mention her name properly because for me, I think he was trying to pretend like he couldn't pronounce her name.
Right,
But he goes into thanking her whatnot for reporting the pedophilia act that she felt
That's
that
about
he
right.
displayed when he was speaking on one of his videos.
Sorry, Jones.
Now,
okay,
I want to go
okay.
in right. And I want to just take a dive into his psyche from even then to when he even mentioned that statement. But I have Kane 2 TV here in Puerto Rican 360. And I want them also to just dive in and give you guys a little insight on who Nature Boy, aka Eligio Bishop, aka Three God, who he actually was from the very beginning. I grew to learn his background, but Puerto Rican 360 and Kane TV is going to give you guys a bit of his background on who he was, and then I'm going to tap into something else. So, Kane Tube TV, Puerto Rican 360, anywhere you guys want to start, go right ahead. I'm
O-
going to mute up while you guys.
Okay, so in the last part one, we spoke about a little bit about him being, well, he alleges that he's from New York, but he's really from New Jersey. We already know that. Um, he was born in New York, but he grew up in New Jersey. So this is where the compare and contrast is at. But he was also, a stripper at some point, up and down Manhattan, and like back in the day, the pier, used to be very invested with a lot of like transsexuals, prostitutes, and things of that nature at
Street
nighttime.
kids,
Street kids, like young boys like him
young girls,
and
runaways.
girls, right, and runaways trying to make, money to survive. Um, so we went, we pretty much covered that. Of course, with some time and after this case and hearing some information about him, side of his sister, his biological sister, she was given a background about how her parents were drug addicts and how he was taken away. They were all taken away and put in the system, but they were separated at some point, and him and his other brother, Leonardo, were placed at the bishop home, the Pokes, right, and the bishop. So, and then there was a lot of separation between the siblings. She's described, and there was a lot of turmoil in that family from what she was saying. So we got that part. He was a damaged young man out in the street. She said he was very violent. She said he hit her before, he punched the other sister
But he's only
before.
really violent towards women. I mean, as far as my recollection of Nature Boy, when he used to be running around in Manhattan dancing at escalators, you know what I'm saying, was prostituting down near the village, hanging out in the back of the Covenant House. I've never seen him ever get tough with no men.
Only with women. So, that tells a lot, about his characteristics and the things that he has done thus far. You know, a lot of his abuse was more via the women than the men. Yeah, a lot of some of the men did experience some
Because they were
abuse.
soft men. They weren't like a manly man. So you have to understand something, baby. Those men that were at the Carbonation, they were men, but they were like effeminate men. They weren't like street tough guys. And
Right,
Legio, he knew he had that over them. He wouldn't accept nobody there that was really, really street.
right,
That's why Ether Flair wasn't there too long.
right,
Okay?
right,
That's why those three guys that he met at the gate that time, when he was asking them, where you from? He's like, yeah, man, I'm from Harlem, man. I'm from, Lexington Projects, which is up there on 96 in Lexington, 99th in Lexington, 100 in Lexington, up there, in low, Upper East Side.
hmm,
And he wouldn't accept those guys because those was his old stomping ground back then. Wagner Projects, he used to hang around, Washington Projects, East Side, Manhattan. He knew that if he had those type of guys at his camp or in his cult, it would expose the fraud he was as far as like, trying to pull the wool over those people's eyes, like, oh, this New York shit. Nah, B, it's not gonna work.
right.
And it didn't work with Ether Flair and the other guys that I had just mentioned.
And before you go into Eat the Flare, K and 2 TV, I just want to stop you for a moment because I want you to stop exactly right there with Eat the Flare. Um, and I want to dive in really quickly right back into the video that I just showed, right? And I just want to give a little bit of context, right? When he was speaking in that video, he spoke on the fact of, like I said, a woman named Latanya Jones reporting him and going after him
Shout
based
out to
on a video
Latanya
that he
Jones.
made.
Absolutely.
The
That's
video
our
that he
sister.
made,
That's
he
our
spoke
sister.
on. Shout out to Latanya Jones. Facts. He went into depth in that video, and honestly, I have the video, but I'm very wary about actually playing that particular video with the things that came out of his mouth, just because I don't want to have YouTube strike me. So therefore, I'm very funny about that. But anyhow, I do have that video. But like I said, to give context to it, the reason why Latanya Jones actually started to pursue him and the things that came out his mouth, I definitely would have pursued him based on the things he was saying when it came down to his children. He spoke about mating his children. He spoke about having intimacy with a woman while his children was present, and then allowing his children to have um I would say feelable moments after intimacy
Okay.
with his baby's mom or whatever woman he was dealing with at the time. And so
Yeah.
for me, I'm automatically, when I came across and I first seen that video, it was like very sickening. Even the video that I just played, it was just very sickening. But now, as you guys were giving a little bit of his history and what he actually came from, for those, hold on 1 minute, guys, my baby. You okay, baby? Okay. For those who were not familiar of the things that Nature Boy went through prior to everything else up until now of him getting life. Like for me, Can you guys take over for a moment? I gotta step away. Just give me a
Sure,
second.
sure. Well, basically, his history, his past traumas definitely shows why he has done the things that he has done. Now, let's talk about Latanya Jones. I did mention her in the first part. I did say that she was the first person that I really came across on Instagram was Latanya Jones. I remember she used to be in front of her job. She would always be sitting on the bench, and I guess it was like her lunch hour. And she was always talking about Nature Boy and the things that he was doing and how she wanted to take him down and things of that nature. And I got very familiar with Latanya Jones. She's a very good lady. And she was really hell bent on getting this man sent to prison. She fought hard. She contacted a lot of people. And yes, she did make a report. And there was a lot of people, a lot of viewers that made reports, especially when he was in Mexico. Um, and Latanya Jones fought really hard. I mean, she did eventually tone down a bit with her content due to other circumstances, but she really was on his neck.
First, crusaders and trying to, take down Eligio. There were others as well. But,
Yeah.
Latanya Jones definitely gets her props due for being one of the first crusaders and try to take them down.
Right. And we're telling you our experience based off how we came in to the fold and how
Yeah,
we started watching was
you
really
know,
through her. And
like
then as time went on, we found out about other content creators that were covering his
Mr.
story and
Bishop.
things of that stuff, things of that nature.
Like I told y'all before in the first series of this that I knew who he was before. He became who y'all know who he is today. And like when I first saw him online, and I started remembering and start getting memory back of who he was. I was like, oh, damn, that's crazy, and start to listen to like his teachings and everything, and doing more in-depth research, a little bit more digging, and I see who he was affiliated with and everything. A lot of his ideologies had Malachi Z. York isms, along with Jim Jones isms, and other various cult members like the Ant Hill Killer, the Ant Hill Kids, pardon, Ant Hill Kids, and various other cult members. So be that as it may, that's how I first
And
came into
that's what we're also gonna get. I'm sorry. And actually, I'm happy you said that because that's what I wanted to tap into. Because, like I was saying, I now okay, I wouldn't even say I have an understanding of who Elijah Bishop is because I can never have an understanding to someone that has his demonic energy. But when you tap into him being in foster care, him losing both of his parents, they go but so deep into him losing his parents, but even from his sister and his brother and the interaction that was there. You know what I mean? It almost felt like you already knew he had to been violated in some type of way. For him to then go on this journey throughout the rest of his life trying to just destroy other people. And definitely, you knew he was searching for very young, vulnerable people that did not know who they were and were trying to figure out who they were and were probably going through personal shit as well and just was trying to like spiritually find themselves. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, even looking at that video with Velvet sitting in the back of him, she was a baby at that time. This man was a grown man. He had his son there, a, a
Velvet.
innocent soul that didn't deserve to see. And that, I believe that was Osiris, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, that was Osiris. Yes, that's when
But going
his
in and tapping in a little bit, do you guys, that was Osiris, right? Do you guys feel like Nature Boy was violated sexually,
oh, he
uh,
was. He
physically
was.
assaulted in many different ways based on the violence that he,
Well,
and like
he
for
did
me
specify.
personally,
He
do
did
you
say that
think
he
like
was
that played a,
molested.
he said he was molested by a close family member or a friend? Like,
His foster father, Mr. Pope.
wow.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the next thing. It's so sad because I just want to sidebar. You got a lot of people out here calling ACS on people. You know what I mean? And you guys don't know how dangerous and how damaging that is for a child, especially when they're being taken out of another environment to be placed somewhere else, and you just don't know the intentions of that person that your child is being placed with. You know what I mean? People are pick up real quick to pick up the phone and call ACS. It's like, yo, really think about what you're doing before you do it. And especially if you calling ACS on a person for some fucking bullshit to have their kids removed just because you want to violate them. Like, that's some real bullshit. Because this is the shit that I'm talking about. You know what I mean? Now, nothing that this man did was right, by no means necessary. But it's so sad that you can actually realize how somebody can actually be molded into becoming this demonic energy that this man was, even with the different personalities that he had. Now, with you saying that he was violated and he was molested by his foster father, um, I feel like that played a part in him doing what he did to those women as far as violating their rights when they said no.
Well, I'm gonna say this, right? When a
You
person
guys could
is
jump in whenever you want to.
when a person is molested, right, at a young age, it opens up doors that are
Hmm.
not supposed to be open at a certain time. Everything in life has its time cycle. You know, you're supposed to have a baby at a certain age. All that type of stuff. So every time, everything has a time cycle. But when you do things like that to a child, you open up a certain door that is not supposed to be opened up when a kid is a kid. And so what happens is they turn into either sexual deviants or they become promiscuous, and don't, and everything, all their resolution is with sex or something sexual, especially if the person doesn't get therapy. Because unfortunately, the body reacts to sexual gestures, and if somebody rubs you a certain way or something like that, the body, not you per se, but the body, because our body is made up of chemicals, serotonin, which is the chemical in the
And
brain
I
that
think
makes us
that's
sad
part of
and
the
makes us
reason,
happy. Right. A lot of people who are molested also, they feel guilty about being
and I think that's
molested
part of the reason.
because because what
Hmm.
happens is
But you
that
can see
at some
he
point
chased it. He
it
chased
feels,
it.
well, he became, what happened was, some people who are molested or raped become, either they want to be an advocate and they want to help other people, heal from trauma, or they become predators themselves. And that's what happened to him.
And I highly agree with you. I highly agree with you. I believe that he became a predator based on all the things that happened to him. And just going back and researching certain things and just hearing about certain things that he was engaged in as a young person, like just being a stripper. And at that time, he was stripping for men. And you know what I mean? He had which came to TV can actually go more in depth with this man that was basically funding melanation and carbonation alongside the members that came in to join. And the craziest thing about it was he managed to create something that was in an image in his mind. And it was, when I tell you, when I look at him, you can tell like he literally manifested these devious thoughts in his mind to create a community of what he wanted it to look like. And majority of it, when you hear the women speak, it was mostly built around sex.
You're right. And you know what, too? What people don't understand about psychopaths, narcissists, things of that nature, not schizophrenic so much, because schizophrenics have voices. So that's a little bit different. But narcissistic people like him, people with personality disorders, they are very intelligent. People get the shit twisted. All right. Psycho people who have mental issues are very intelligent. Okay. The intellectual part has nothing to do with the mental illness part. And so if you pay attention closely to him and how he went about his cult, he did a lot of studying. He did a lot of cult studying. He did a lot of, a lot of control tactics, a lot of fear mongering. Like he learned all these things.
I mean, prior to him, let me add this in the plot real quick. But prior to him being in a cult, he always had this. I guess people would say charisma about him, where he was very manipulative. He's very magnetic.
Right, he's a very manipulative type of
And he's
person.
very manipulative. He had them traits already before the cult.
Right,
So
but
by
those are
him picking up the cult traits and studying various cults and then getting down with Sinetta and Pharaoh and them back in the day, oh yeah,
yes,
he picked up on a conglomerate, a combination of teachings and ideas, ideologies and philosophies, and try to remix it and make it his own. You understand what I'm saying? That's why if you look at his various character switches, when he's playing in the different alter egos,
right.
you see the traces of who he stole from.
Yes.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yes, a lot of his tactics. The let's just mention one. One of the women
I agree with that.
mentioned that he would, when he would get upset, he would make them come in a room and sit down and talk about it, which he used to call real nigga moments, right? And they used to sit there and he used to talk and talk and talk and talk and talk until he felt comfortable enough to then send them to sleep, you know? And so that's something that Jim Jones used to do. He used to call for them to come to the chapel and sit, and he would talk for hours and hours and hours. And these people were sitting in the heat and they were thirsty and babies were crying. And he would continue to talk, 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 talk until he got good and tired. And then they were able to sleep.
Oh, somebody wrote, he's a good. Talking about Mike Brown.
Yeah, I've watched the Jim Jones because I even had to take it back and go and watch that whole little documentary on him. And let me tell you something, it definitely was heart wrenching, and then it was also mind boggling to to me as a person, like, damn, the who I am, I ain't letting nobody just tell me what to do. Like, and you're not gonna tell me how to think. And you're not gonna sit there and beat me down and think that I'm just gonna sit there and allow you to beat me down because you're sitting in my face telling me that you're God. Like, what are we really talking about here? If you was to go out here and get hit by a car and get ran over, I think if I was to happen to go out here and get hit by a car and get ran over, we're going to suffer the same injuries. One might be severe than other. One might lead to death. One may not. But at the end of the day, we're going to suffer some injuries. You ain't, listen, you're not, how would they say, miraculous. That's the word I'm using. I be getting a little tongue tied. You're not miraculous. So to say that I am going to sit there and let you tell me who you are to me, and I should be looking up to what you're saying because you're the end all be all. Are you serious? With my
I
baby
mean,
crying
I mean
in the
that
heat,
that that's your
thirsty?
that's
You
your
know what?
psyche.
That is so many people. Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. I had to really come back when I think about myself. That's my psyche, but that's where you have to really tap in to be able to understand somebody else. You know what I mean? And that's what I had to
Absolutely.
come to. I had to be able to come down a little bit and be like, damn,
You know,
these
the
people
mind can be very strong
were in search
at
of
times,
something.
but the mind could be very weak
Yeah,
also, you know? So,
yeah.
and unfortunately, he caught them at the right time in their life.
It definitely.
Convict the weak, collect the elite.
Yeah, because I
Peace
think
is in.
that all the people that he came in contact with was definitely in search of some type of enlightenment. You know what I mean? And he painted this picture that seemed so great, but it wasn't the truth. And they endured so much pain, and they endured that pain for a very long time. And all that pain that, and it's sad to say, all the pain that he put them through was pain that he himself was enduring internally. Like he was in a battle with himself. And like you said, even when it comes down to the multiple personalities, you know what I'm saying? He definitely, as time progressed and you go back and watch certain videos, you can see the developments of different people as he went along through the process. You know what I mean? And that's what I want people to also take the time out to realize because, like, I needed to set that example for myself because that's the type of psyche I was in at the time. Like, I ain't sitting there letting nobody do so and so and so. But when you're in search of something and you believe in something other than yourself and you feel like you have no way out, that's when demonic energies could just slip in and take over your mind. And even with the men, because even for them to sit there and endure watching the abuse that took place with the women, watching the abuse that took place with the men, you know what I'm saying? Them having to physically abuse each other. He got a kick out of that. That was something that was definitely feeding his energy. You know what I mean? And that's why you definitely have to go back when it comes down to him, just as a person, on how he was able to capture them the way he did. And you said it perfectly. He's charismatic. He has so many qualities that will definitely just draw you to him.
Well, you
But
know, manipulation
underneath all
is
those
a motherfucker.
qualities, just a sick individual. Yeah, it definitely is. I listen. It definitely, and guess what? It's more Eligio bishops out here. You know what I'm saying? It's more where that came from. Like I said, people don't even realize it's people that are in relationships currently right now that's going through the same thing. And even though to them it may be monogamous, it really is not because what that dude is doing, he out here, he's sleeping around, He doing what he got to do. Then he want to come home, disrespect you, abuse you, disrespect you physically, mentally, verbally. Like, come on. Like, it is happening. And at some point, we don't realize where these things are being triggered from. And it definitely has to stem from way back, like from far back in your upbringing and what you've seen, what was shown to you. You know what I mean? And let me make this clear, not all the time that is the circumstance, because Puerto Rican 360 said it perfectly. It's some people that have been around abuse, that have seen the worst of the worst, and have definitely not become a predator.
Right. They persevere. Absolutely. And they push through and
You
they
know what I
push
mean?
past.
So just definitely want to put that out there. Persevere, exactly. So, and they push past, you know what I'm saying? But when you look at the statistic, it's very heightened on how when young men especially go through violations in their life, that 9 times out of 10 they become that predator. And that's the scary part.
Yeah, you know why? Because men are very,
And then
you
it
know,
was for
men are
me
taught, men are taught to
looking
not
at
have
him.
feelings and emotions. Men are taught not to share their feelings and emotions. Men are taught that crying is for fucking girls and things of that nature. Not that crying is a human emotion. They are human beings. We all cry. Everybody cries at some point. Okay, so what happens is men get violated and they don't share their trauma and
Yeah,
things of that nature, get help for it. They just compartmentalize the trauma. They throw it in the back, what they call the junk trunk. They throw it in the junk trunk and they don't think about it no more. But what happens? All that stuff in your junk trunk starts to fucking erupt like a volcano and it causes you to be bitter and angry and aggressive. And so it
yeah.
could turn all kind of ways. You can do all type of things. You could start
Mhm.
beating
Yep.
people up. You could start harming yourself. You could, it could be a plethora of
And
things.
that's definitely,
And we all do it. We all throw shit in our junk trunk and act
yeah,
like,
and
nah,
this
we
is the
good.
thing when you say, I just want you, of course. Because you got in your mind, it's like, listen, I got to keep on going. I can't even let this take me down, because that's the mental thought. It's almost like, yo, listen, look, I don't got no time to cry and sit here and wipe my tears. But for me, when even speaking on that right now, I really have to go back for myself. Like, it's times that I sat back and I've cried. You know what I mean? Because a part of me crying was a part of me replenishing myself. At the time, I just was in my emotions of like, yo, I'm tired of fucking crying. I'm tired of feeling the way I'm feeling or whatever have you when I was in my most depressed moments, right? And not realizing that the tears that I was shedding was allowing me to release, to now replenish myself to keep on going. Welcome, First Lady. Welcome, First Lady. Welcome to the building. Thank you for pulling up on me. I know you're doing ladies' night. I'm actually getting ready to end my live because I gotta head out to work, but I'll be in ladies' night tonight also. So I'll be in there. I'm gonna pop in there, ma. Thank you for pulling up on me. But yeah, you already know. Like, for me, I definitely wanted to take my time and really break down the psyche of who this person is, and also just drop a jewel in there, letting our young people know, be aware, because it's a lot of predators that's out here after our young people, trust and believe me. And so definitely just listening as I'll go deeper, as I go into next week, you guys will know we'll have that next episode, and we'll definitely start to tap into the young people and probably what engaged them into going, and just where they are right now. Because let me tell you something, regardless of what you may assume about people. Like I said before, I made a prior statement of what who I am and how my outlook would have been if it was me. You don't realize that everybody has a different perspective of life. You understand? And you just cannot judge a book by its cover. You know what I mean? Or a situation. You definitely won't never really understand the situation until you're the person walking in those shoes. You know what I mean? So that's something that I want anybody that steps into this live tonight or even decides to tap into the live and do the replay to keep in mind. You know what I mean? Stay true to yourself. You know what I'm saying? Believe and have the faith within. Don't judge others. Take the time out to try to understand who somebody else may be, even if they have a different perspective. Even if they may look a certain way or move a certain way. You know what I mean? It does not mean that you take the time out to make assumptions. Go about it a whole different way. It's about time we start to enlighten each other. And like I said, even with this nature boy thing, yes, he did real foul shit that he can't take back, and I think he deserves life. But when you listen to some of the teachings that he took from every different type of person that he took it from, that he tried to make his own, it had a lot of truth on how we should be living. But he took it to manipulate young people to get what he wanted because he had a sick agenda going on. And a lot of these cult leaders, that's what it is. I think that once they get the feeling of what power looks like and they could conquer minds, it overtakes what the original goal is supposed to be, which is to elevate our people, show our people a different way of life, show our people a better way of eating and treating themselves. You know what I
Right.
mean? And with that being said, you guys, I want to leave Puerto Rican and Kane TV with the last words. We will be back on Thursday again with the third episode, and we will still be diving deep on little things when it comes down to Nature Boy. And as we go into the other followers that actually went into melanation and into carbonation and end up staying the longevity of time that they stood, and those who end up leaving, and the purpose to why, and we're doing it in our thought process of to why those who said to themselves like we up out of here, we up out of here, like it was a purpose, it was a sign, you know what I mean, whatever that may be. But I think we all been there, and we've all felt like we've had signs in our lives when we've been in traumatic situations. With that being said, the Odyssey podcast, you already know. You see it on my screen. Subscribe, hit the up like button, notification bell, and please take the time out to just tell a friend to tell a friend. And I'm leaving it, like I said, with Puerto Rican 360 and K and Tube TV. I'm leaving you guys with the last word. Thank you guys also for coming through and putting your insight in on what you guys know, and also just dropping jewels for hopefully the next person that'll come in will be able to capture that jewel, or have a friend that's going through something, or a family member, a loved one, whatever it may be, that can also be able to drop the jewel that you just dropped sitting here in this very moment. And that's what we're here to do, drop jewels for those who definitely need it. Not everything is meant to be spoken about in disparaging manners, you know what I'm saying? Or to just make money, you know what I mean? It's sometimes you got to do things for a deeper purpose in life. With that being said, Kane 2 TV, Puerto Rican 360, you guys take it over. I'm leaving it with you guys to end it off.
Well, I hope you guys enjoyed some of the stuff that we talked about. On the next show, I'm gonna try to give you a little more information about, what the steps are. The steps that people go through when they are entering, you know, the world of abuse, and the changes that you go through. And always be positive. Always think positive. If you're ever feeling down, always reach out to somebody that you trust. Don't ever hold your feelings in. It's not good for your soul.
Yeah, and I'm gonna fill in more on Eligio Bishop before he became Nature Boy as well. I've dropped a few little tidbits there today. Next time, I guess I'll be able to go a little bit more in depth as well.
Peace and love, y'all.
Peace.
The Honesty Podcast. Peace, love, and light to you and your family from us over here in the Honesty Podcast. We will be back. Until next time.